My name is Katinka Leneman. I go by she, her, and I am a 12th grader at Carmel.
I'm Brandon Wee. My pronouns are he, him, and I go to Menlo Atherton High School. I'm currently in 11th grade, and I'm part of the leadership team.
My name is Sarah. I am a 12th grader at Woodside High School. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm in the Sequoia High School District.
My name is Sophia Bai. I go by any pronouns. I'm part of Tide Academy, which is in the Sequoia Union High School District.
The goal of our committee is basically to act as a space to facilitate communication between stakeholders across all levels. Because in general, we see like a lot of student energy regarding climate action. And then again, on the other hand, we also have like district level administrators that might have concerns about sustainability and like waste sorting on campuses. And then, for example, teachers might also think about like what they want to see with environmental literacy in the curriculum. So uniting those perspectives and having space for all of these people to come together to discuss these efforts is what we're trying to have. And yeah.
Our goal as a committee is kind of bring these different voices together and kind of combine our different strengths, like students who can affect school culture and like administrators who have control over funding and that kind of stuff. So bringing these different voices together and their different strengths can help make systematic change possible. And so the structure is it's been developing throughout the year, but basically what we have today is a committee director, which is Katinka, who is in the district leadership or the leadership team, which is the four of us. Then under that are 3 subcommittees, each with a few co-chairs, which are both students and teachers. And then under that is just the subcommittee members. And they all have different roles.
So we have like 3 different subcommittees. We have zero waste, environmental literacy, and food systems. So just getting like students and teachers involved, it helps. They can have like a certain interest they want to focus on. And I think, yeah, that just helps get more interested and get more involved.
It started, I think, was it November 2020? I could be wrong. But, oh yeah, fall of 2020, around that time. So a group of students around the ones, I think everyone here, save for Sophia, who came on later, so really glad to have her. We basically got together to draft a climate emergency declaration. So what this was a document that we wrote up, and it basically outlined the list of reasons why climate change is a threat and urged the district board of trustees to pass this resolution declaring that climate change is something that we need to pay attention to, we need to take action on it, and we need to do it now. So after drafting it, we brought it to the board of trustees that January, and then we basically asked them, this is our resolution, could you please pass it? And it took about 6 months of like repeated like presentations and inquiries about like where they were on regarding like climate change for them actually to pass it. But at the end of those 6 months of communicating with the district, they finally did pass it, and unanimously as well. And from that moment, that was like with the momentum of talking to the district about climate change for so long, we brought up the topic of starting sustainability committee. And that's basically where it started.
We sort of started out talking about kinds of like where we're at and like how we feel about current efforts happening in the district and what are some blockades in progress. And it was really enlightening just to see like what everyone was struggling with and how the fact that a lot of people from teachers to principals to board members showed up to talk about this kind of shows how this was at the forefront of people's minds, and how maybe we needed a committee like this to voice these thoughts.
There's a lot of people in the district who are frustrated with climate change and are willing to actually put in a lot of time and work to solve this issue. So I think that it gave me the opportunity to just see past everything, know that it's not just myself and that change is possible.
I think like schools are the best place to train the next generation with like the knowledge and skills to take action on climate change. And that if every student was equipped with these skills and this knowledge base of their impact on environmental systems and how we can help solve them, then it would have a huge effect on systems that need change.
Overall, students have a lot to lose given what generation they're in and the future that is coming. So it gives students it gives you a lot of motivation when you have something to work for.
I think it really it affects like the older or like the teachers and like board members, those like people in our committee, because they kind of like reflect that energy, because sometimes they aren't like previously quite as involved or stuff like that. So I think they just love seeing students like be like resilient and just like so persistent in this. So.
Whenever we have like a task to do that involves reaching out to stakeholders to get their approval for something or something along those lines, they always say that the students should reach out to them because that is more convincing, which is kind of funny because that's not our job, but it works. And because I guess like it's just unusual that a student would feel it's important to take on this role, given that they already have the job of being a student. So it just goes to show that our voices have power because we kind of are making these adults accountable for their actions.
I feel like being involved in sustainable action in committees like these, it gives people a place to have have like an outlet in order to channel like frustration and anger and like hope and like despair also about climate change into a place where they can feel like they are being heard. They're like the issues that they care about are being seen by adults and where they can feel like they're making a difference.
I think like the most like memorable moment for me is just like the board passing the climate emergency declaration, because yeah, we like presented like so many times at the board meetings and we'd like emailed them. So it's kind of like a back and forth game for a while, but eventually like when we did pass it, it was just like so rewarding because we put so much like time into it. It just finally paid off. But it was interesting because like I think every time we presented to them, like the board was like never against like passing it. It was just like very, very slow progress. So that was also kind of pretty special to see them like finally give in after like slow change. Every time we presented.
We basically made a foundation of change where future committee meetings, at least for example, the next school year, committees can start working on actual things, because this year was a lot of, I feel like, busy work in terms of lots of email writing, lots of online documents, and then starting next year, people can actually start going into campuses, implementing tri-bin and putting in food carts for lunches when there's like extra food left, etc. So being able to see that we've actually made some like heavy groundwork for next year is also pretty inspiring to me.
That environmental literacy survey is very surprising. I guess not surprising, but just kind of solidified, I guess, kind of suspicions about what is going on in this, like about what students think about climate change and those issues. Like the fact that teachers think students care about climate change and other environmental literacy issues less than they actually do. And that is huge because that means that teachers aren't really tailoring their lessons to what students actually care about.
I think that one of the most rewarding parts for me has been watching stakeholders like put more attention into climate change, like much more than I think talking to all of them, like you get the feeling that all of them do care and that they do like have concerns about how things are being run and wishes that things would go better. Through this committee, I think that I've seen a lot of like realizations among stakeholders that things can change, but like you have to be the one who's like helping to move that change along.
So I think what Sophia was saying earlier, it's basically this like school year, we've been doing a lot of like kind of policy work, just like emails and just kind of building relationships with like teachers and administration, things like that, and just kind of setting the groundwork for the projects that are going to be done next year. So for example, like the or the zero waste subcommittee, we're thinking of doing like installing tri-bins at different school sites and a lot of like more like physical, tangible projects. I know the food systems subcommittee is also doing like food share carts at school sites. So I think like in the next year, it's going to be more, yeah, like physical projects that you can like see and like interact with, that like show change and like all the work that we've put in.
Because district tri-bins are coming to every school, we're thinking to do school-wide educational events such as, but not limited to, like assemblies where students can see leadership presenting information to students like on climate change education, particularly what they can do about it, such as waste sorting and how to use tri-bins. So things along those lines where we're seeing more integration into schools, like actual information being given to students about climate change. I think that's going to be a really important part of next year.
Climate change is not just a one effort thing. This has to continue. So this committee has to continue too. So sustainability in terms of the environment and both this committee is very important.
Climate change and these environmental problems applies to a lot of different problems in society. It's all connected. And so kind of bringing more students into being involved in these kinds of issues and having this committee grow into something that inspires students and leads to future civic engagement in their life later on is another goal. If you're interested in joining, you don't need any prior experience, just need to show up and see if this is something you're interested in. Anyone can join. Yeah.